Production of Traveling Kansas Concordia is brought to you in part by an underwriting grant from
Cloud County Tourism invites you to discover Concordia. You will explore cuisine, shopping, lodging, and places to awe and inspire. The elegance of the Brown Grand Theater and the Nazareth Convent. How 1 in 25 people are connected to the National Orphan Train Museum, World War II German POW Camp Concordia, and the longest sculpted brick mural in the U.S. Cloud County Tourism in Concordia will help you plan your day away.
Funk Pharmacy, KNCK Radio, Central National Bank, People's Insurance, Taco John's of Concordia.
We are Traveling Kansas.
My name is Tammy Britt. I'm co-director of Cloud County Convention and Tourism, and it is our job to welcome visitors to Concordia and to market Cloud County as a whole and all of the lovely attractions that we have here. Our office is located in the Cloud County Museum Annex, which is located on the corner of 6th and US 81. So we have part museum, part our office, part the Concordia Travel Information Center, and of course, one of the best attractions in our state, the Whole Wall Mural, which is a hand-sculpted brick mural 140 feet long and up to 20 feet high. Concordia is home to Cloud Ceramics, which is the maker of fine face bricks and one of only 3 places in the United States that does architectural quality bricks. And Cloud Ceramics have been approached by the Historical Society, which owns our building, to assist them in rebricking the outside wall that was starting to deteriorate. Cloud Ceramics said, we're going to donate all the bricks, and there are 6,400 bricks out there, and not just any bricks. You have to see this. This is a normal size brick. These are the bricks that the Whole Wall Mural is made out of. So you can tell that they're really large bricks, and they're very substantial. And the museum went about finding an artist to actually do the carving. And the artist that won the bid was Catherine Magel from St. Louis, Missouri. She's very well known in that area. She designed a design that incorporated all of our important buildings, which includes the Brown Grand Theater and the administrative building from Milton Bell Wesleyan College, a place from Glasgow, the medical clinic, St. Joe Church out in St. Joe, and of course our beautiful convent, the home of the Sisters of St. Joseph, the Nazareth Convent. So those are all at the very beginning of the wall. Then as you move north on the wall, you'll see one whole entire section is donated to agriculture because of course Kansas is wheat farming. Then as you continue on over the wall, over our door are all these lovely sunflowers. Then World War II POW Camp Concordia is also depicted on the wall, and an American soldier and a German POW is on there shaking hands, which Concordia, back during World War II, was the home of the largest POW camp in the state. Over 4,000 Germans were held here during World War II and lived in basically a whole nother city just a couple of miles out north of town. And then finishing up on the wall, there is a lovely train there which has on it one of the Sisters of Charity bringing out one of the babies to Concordia on the orphan trains. And Senator Frank Carlson is also depicted on that, which is one of our most famous Kansan political figures and a great friend of Dwight D. Eisenhower. So it all kind of coordinates together. Now, the Whole Wall Mural can be viewed at any time of the day or night. It's lit and it's, of course, has 24-hour access. But if you want to come in and see all the other treasures inside, our office hours are from 9 to 12 and 1 to 5, Monday through Friday, and then on Saturday from 10 to 1. The Brown Grand Theater was actually built by one of the wealthiest men in town, Colonel Brown. And it's said that Colonel Brown came to Concordia, Kansas in about 1876. And it's said that he came to town with 2 carpetbags full of money and began to loan out that money to people who were settling this area at anywhere from 10 to 14% interest. So he quickly became a very wealthy man, and a group of Concordians approached the wealthiest man in town and said, "Would you help us build an opera house?" And that is basically how the Brown Grant came to be. He agreed to donate $20,000 to build the Brown Grant Theater. And he basically turned the whole entire process of the contracting and the building of it to his son Earl and Earl's new wife Gertrude. They went around Kansas and Missouri. They visited about 30 different opera houses before they picked this beautiful French Renaissance style. And it took a little over right around 18 months for it to be built, and it ended up costing $40,000 instead of just the $20,000. But it's a beautiful testament. I think one of the most interesting things about the build is that the Browns really believed in hiring local and shopping local. So all of the brick and the limestone that is part of the Brown Grant Theater is all local, and all of the handiwork was all local men. And that's quite a testament to the time frame that people really took a lot of pride in this building. The Brown Grant Theater was a performance theater for many years. It opened in September of 1907, originally with the first show being a Broadway musical from New York City called the Vanderbilt Cup. After that, it welcomed many shows over the years. About during this time frame is when another thing happened in our history, talking movies. And so the movies kind of took away from all of live performances. That meant that the Brown Grant Theater really wasn't needed as much except for as a movie theater, and that is what it became later. In the late 70s and 80s, a group got together and completely renovated it and put it back to its original French Renaissance style. And we know that all of the stenciling and all the old gold gilt is exactly how it was to begin with, because they found a pattern of it behind one of the heaters, and they actually found the blueprints in an attorney's office in Denver. So they had all the original notes and blueprints and made it, just basically brought it right back to the way it had been originally. The Brown Grant now is used for many purposes. They have many events here, from weddings to graduations, dance recitals. We've even had a few funerals here because it's the largest place in town to hold one. And it's also busy with different performances. People can rent it out, or we do have a young group beginning to gather again to start doing performance art again here. And then of course they invite in many traveling shows. The Brown Grant is always open for tours daily, Tuesday through Friday from 10 to noon and then 1 to 4, and on Saturdays during the summer by appointment. The Children's Aid Society was started in about 1853 by a man by the name of Charles Loring Brace, who had it laid upon his heart all the homeless children that were in New York City and how they were being mistreated and not cared for. And I think that really bothered him. So Dr. Brace, who wanted to reach out to these kids, basically started the soup kitchen and a place for the kids to sleep. The Children's Aid Society became so popular that they soon were busting at the seams. And Dr. Brace also felt that it was really important for kids to learn how to survive inside the structure of a family so that they themselves would become good parents. And what better way to do that than to spend some time with good Protestant families And he was also concerned because a lot of them had lung issues due to all the coal. So he felt that being out on the farm in lots of fresh air and away from all the cramped quarters of New York City. So what he first began doing was asking New York State farmers to take in a few children. And that was the beginning of the placing out. Well, soon, they'd already exhausted all the homes in and around New York. And about that same time, the trains were beginning to head west as more and more of the United States began being settled out west. And so they sent out the first group of children, 46 boys and girls, to Dowagiac, Michigan. And it was such a great success that that's where it began to continue to grow, and they kept going further and further out. The Orphan Train Museum ended up being in Concordia, Kansas, because, first of all, a woman by the name of Mary Ellen Johnson from Arkansas was working on a history book and was gathering information from the area, and soon learned all about the orphan train movement. For 20 years, she worked as a volunteer collecting information and was one of the starters of the Orphan Train Heritage Society, and would begin having in 1988 gatherings of orphan train writers. And they would start recording their stories and sharing information with her. So all of those records she had down in her basement. When she decided that she wanted to retire and her husband really wanted his basement back, they asked if anyone would be willing to house those records. And Concordia was one of 3 places that placed a bid to house those records and to start a museum. And that was back in 2003. They went down and they gathered all those records, and then the Morgantown Research Center was built. That research center today houses all those records and more now, because every year more and more writers or descendants of writers bring forth stories, and there's more newspaper articles that they find, and people are always donating that information here so that those writers, which there aren't very many actual writers left, those descendants are always welcome to come here and research and find as much information as they can here. Not everybody's information is here. We are constantly gathering more, but it's a great starting place.
Production of Traveling Kansas Concordia is brought to you in part by an underwriting grant from
Cloud County Tourism invites you to discover Concordia. You will explore cuisine, shopping, lodging, and places to awe and inspire. The elegance of the Brown Grand Theater and the Nazareth Convent. How 1 in 25 people are connected to the National Orphan Train Museum, World War II German POW Camp Concordia, and the longest sculpted brick mural in the U.S. Cloud County Tourism in Concordia will help you plan your day away.
Funk Pharmacy, KNCK Radio, Central National Bank, People's Insurance, Taco John's of Concordia,